Hi there, this is Axon and I'm coming back with a few more tips and tricks about how to play Path of Exile. This is a follow-up of my first video in which I covered most of the basics, but apparently there were some other questions friends of mine have asked me about the game. So first of all, you can't pause the game. If you use the S key to invoke the menu, the game will continue to run as the game runs on the server. So instead of pausing the game, you should use a scroll of town portal to go to the nearest town, or just go to a safe location. Another matter is the F1 key. The F1 key will display performance charts for the game's performance on your computer and on the server. So if you hit this by mistake, just hit it again and they will disappear from the screen. In order to assign skills to your buttons, you have to obviously click over here and then you select one of the skills which are available to you. Obviously the skills are, as I said in my first video, these gems which you insert into your items, and as you insert the gems into the item, the skills will become available over here and you select one of the skills, and yeah, that's pretty much it. As for the potion belt, this can be modified from the inventory. You can add or remove potions from here. Be careful, because if you are doing this outside of the town, if you drop one of your potions in the inventory and you put it back, in that case it will remain empty until you fill it up by killing monsters. You should be careful to equip items based on your needs. For example, this is an area where we have a few monsters which deal fire damage, and other areas are rich in monsters which deal cold damage. So if you press the C key for your character and you go to the defense tab, you can see your fire resistance, cold resistance, lightning resistance. So for example, as you can see, my cold resistance isn't very good, it's only 15%, but I actually have back in the town I have a gem which a ring which gives me an additional 47 cold resistance. So should I go into an area which requires very good cold resistance, such as the Cavern of Woe in Act 1 and Merveil, the boss at the end of Act 1, I would equip the cold resistance ring, and yeah, then my cold resistance will go to 62% and I will be very well protected against cold attacks. So yeah, you should keep in mind that if you are having trouble with resistances, be careful what items you equip. Use your stash in the town to save these great rings, because you will eventually need them when things become too hard for your character to handle. Another matter which I would like to discuss is basically how you should build your character. This is a very, as I've shown you in the first video, the passive skill tree is very large, and you should basically follow your interests, but you should always keep in mind that you will need to think about your hit points, your life, and your armor, and so don't focus only on damage. Focus also on improving your character's resistance. For example, with a Marauder, I went with 15% life, another 8%, another 6%, and then another 6%, and a lot of life regeneration, and of course Heart of the Gladiator for another 30 to maximum life. This is one of the best, actually the best life boosting branch in the entire passive skill tree. But every character has access to ways of improving the total life. Even the sorcerers, for example, the witch. Sorry, we have here fitness and another fitness over here, and Titanic Might. So always keep in mind that you should develop your character so that you don't become a glass cannon, as a friend of mine puts it. And other things which you might find of importance, the quest log, which is the U key. Always remember, if you get stuck or you don't know what to do in the game, check your quest log and look at the texts which are written here, so you will see what you have to do next. How to create a party and join a party. You press the key which is assigned for the social panel. For me it's S. And here you can see all your friends, and you can create a party by typing a character name. Perhaps a friend you don't know, you can just I mean a person you don't have as a friend, you write their character name here, and they will get the party invite, and you can also add them to your friends. In the options menu you should go to the keys tab, and you should check what kind of keys you have set for social panel and character panel and whatever, and you can of course configure them. And as I've shown you in the social panel, you have public parties over here. You can find them here in the notice board. If you go to the notice board, you see the public parties, and you can join one of the public parties. And be careful if you are, for example, outside the town, in terraces for example, and you create a new party with a friend of yours and you are both in terraces, you will not immediately see each other, because the way the game works is by creating a separate instance for each party. And since both of you and your friend were in separate instances of the terraces, you will not be in the same instance at the same when the party is created. So you have to go back to the town, and then you go back into the instance, and you will be together in one of the two available instances. Now, how do you pick the instance? For example, maybe you want your friend to join your instance. In that case, you can control click the entrance to the area. So you use your control key, you keep it pressed, and you click the area, and as you can see here, I can create a new instance, or I can join the instance I already created when I went there about a minute ago. This can be done also on the waypoint, so you can control click any area, and in that case you will be able to create new instances or join existing instances. So if I would control click the normal first town, I can see that there are two instances over here with different players in them, and I can pick whatever instance I wish. For example, if I pick this one, the town will be quite deserted, or if I pick this one, I will join an instance with quite a few players over here. They're all crowded around the stash. Another important thing to know is that an instance is reset after between 8 and 15 minutes in the current version of the game. They're about to change this as far as I know, but keep that in mind. So as you actually can see here that instances stay open for 8 to 15 minutes. So this means that if you town portal to the city and you spend more than 15 minutes there, for sure your portal will close. So don't be surprised. That's actually an they're trying to keep a light load on their memory of the servers which run the game, but this is actually quite good because it prevents people from staying too much in the town and frustrating the entire party with their bartering. And another thing I would like to touch on is leveling up your gems. A friend of mine asked me, okay, what's the point in leveling up the gem? Why doesn't the gem level up automatically? Why does it ask me to level up the gem? Well, for example, I am sharing this faster attacks gem with two other characters, and should I level up the gem, its required level, which you can see here is 39, will increase to 42, and then I will not be able to use it with other characters. So that's why you would want to keep off leveling up a gem. However, if you don't level up a gem, it will not gain experience in advance, so it will only start earning experience when you leveled it up. And bartering, you should be careful. So when selling items, you should try to identify all the items, because you get usually you get better stuff on them. For yellow items, for sure, you always get better stuff. So if you identify yellow items, you always get better stuff than when you sell them not identified. Blue items, so magic items, that's a bit of a gamble. Most of the time, I mean, about 8% it's better to identify them. But there can be situations when you identify a blue item and you get only a scroll of wisdom instead of two transmutation shards. So that's a bit of a risk, but overall it's still better to identify everything. Don't bother selling white items, so don't start gathering everything that you find and going to the town and selling them for one piece of, like I have here, you see this scroll fragment. Don't sell stuff for scroll fragments, that's a waste of time, don't do it. Usually you should just pick up the yellow items and perhaps the blue items which you think that are useful for you, or if you like farming more, then yeah, you can pick up the blue items as well and sell those. I usually do that actually. And one last thing to discuss is a bit of strategy when you're fighting bosses. If you are in a party, both of you should make a portal to the town, and you should use each other's portals, because the portal doesn't close if your friend uses it, and you won't close your friend's portal. So you should crisscross through your portals, and then they will be open, and you can go to the town to instantly refill all your potions when you go to town. So that's useful. And also don't ever grow overconfident, because this game is can be quite surprising. And so don't get surrounded, and even if monsters seem really easy to kill, you can find yourself in a really tough spot. And as for strategy, you should, if a group of monsters is very hard to beat, you should pick them one by one and just run around until they the divide et impera strategy, divide and conquer. And you should also try to avoid fighting bosses with multiple bosses. For example, if you have 3 bosses which have auras, for example a haste and elemental resistance and whatever, they will aura each other, and that's very hard. So that's a very hard combination to beat, so you should be careful with that as well. Right, that's about it for now, and maybe I'll come back with a part 3, although I think I covered pretty much anything. The rest is up for you to discover. Have fun!